account delivery lead. So my guest today is Miss Bev Almazan-Siongco. Hi, Miss Bev.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Very happy to be here. Hi Rafi.
Hi. So Miss Bev, can you describe for us what an account delivery lead is?
Okay, so in the scheme of IT, I am based out of accounts, meaning I am assigned a couple of accounts, one or two, depending on the size of the account. In whatever account I'm assigned in, I make sure that end-to-end delivery is flawless. Basically, that's my mandate, right? Um, High level, I would say that when I say flawless, I would mean that the client is warm and happy with the delivery, right? I am able to staff the right set of people and be able to bring in the right skills needed for the projects or whatever requirements the account the account needs.
Mhm.
Uh, as delivery lead, also I have an obligation to my company to make sure that my projects and in my work is profitable. So my P&L, my profit loss tayo dyan. And at the same time, I am based from the Philippines, obviously, but my accounts are based in the Americas region.
Mm.
Part of my added, role would be to make sure that as much as I can bring the work to offshore, specifically Philippines. Because even if I think I'm at liberty to say naman, I work for DXC Technologies. All right. It was formerly HP,
Mhm.
then it became HPE, and then now we're called DXC. So for 15 years, I've been in three companies, but I never left any company. I've stayed there for 15 years already, no? So I am part of the Americas delivery region,
Right.
but I'm a Philippine resource. So from a headcount perspective, Filipino pa rin. Philippines pa rin, nagkapasok pa rin sa akin Philippines. Pero yung line of supervisory line ko is Americas.
Right.
Because I am my position, I would say, is strategic enough. I'm able to bring in work from Americas to offshore.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's basically my role, Rafi. If I can just summarize, no, maybe
Mhm.
just um my role is account delivery leader, but I prefer calling myself a client partner.
Mm.
Yeah. What do I mean by that? I would say a client partner is the single hand to shake or the single neck to choke. Depends on how you see it, right?
Mm.
Basically, when the client wakes up and he or she has something good or bad to say about, his delivery, whatever he thinks, right? I want to do this for my company, for my account. I should be the first to mind.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
prefer calling myself a client partner because aside from just making sure that delivery is flawless, I need to make sure that my client is happy.
I see. I see.
So there's a little bit of client management going on in there, right? And in right now, actually, 2 weeks ago, my official role is account delivery lead. But then my manager called me up and said, we're getting a reorganization
Mhm.
and account delivery leads are now given the opportunity to become account general managers. And the only difference between those two accounts is the sales part. Being able
Mm.
being able to be in front of the client kasi sinasabi nila na you're the account delivery leader, so you are the heart of the delivery, right? You know things, you know people, you know the client. So
Right.
the people who can sell to the client would be the delivery leader. Kasi dati hiwalay eh. Iba yung
Mhm.
nagbebenta, iba yung nagde-deliver. And you know that fundamental disconnect, Rafi, no?
Mm.
Iba yung binibenta, iba yung nade-deliver, di ba?
Correct.
So
Correct.
sabi, bakit natin pag-iibahin? Kailangan ibigay natin sa tao na pinakamalapit sa kliyente.
Right.
So 2 weeks ago, medyo may konting mandate na push for account delivery leaders to not just take care of delivery, but just also start all the way from the beginning to selling. So I'm still starting there, right? Obviously, it requires a different skill set. I would probably like drive this discussion more on the account delivery leader part because that's my bread and butter.
Right. Right.
That was a long introduction, sorry.
No. It's fine. No. Pero would that mean also that yung lead generation, not lead delivery, lead generation in sales would fall under you if you move to that, or at least have that sales target na?
I would say that, yeah, that's a good question. I would say I would call them not really under me, but they're gonna be my arms and my legs, right? I'm gonna be the one like thinking about the strategy because I'll be talking to the client, but they will be like setting up the offerings, setting up the sales pitches for me, and we're gonna go in front of the client. But before kasi, magkaiba talaga, hindi like, bebenta muna and then pag nabenta, hand over sa amin. Which, you know just how many mistakes that will just fall into.
Right.
Pag magkaiba yung kasi iba yung objective eh. Itong sales, benta lang eh, di ba? Pero pag nalipat na sa delivery, it's a different story. So why not just make it 1%?
Right. You were mentioning a bit about the skills of the people that you bring in to deliver. But in terms of, and you also mentioned a little bit of skills of the sales team, no? How about the skills of the account delivery lead? What kind of skills do you need to have to be an account delivery lead? Is it more like project management? Do you need a PMP certification or anything like that?
So Rafi, I'm a graduate of MIS like you.
Right.
So going into the organization, my track was really project management. In fact, I would always say that project management is not a career for me. It's really a lifestyle. So for like the first 7 to 8 years of my career, I'm really project management. I went up from associate PM to program management to portfolio management. You know, the usual PM buck, right? Just went up the ladder there. So yung backbone ko talaga is really there. And then when I realized that I can handle portfolios, one of the things that was given to me from a career standpoint was that, okay, Bev, you are able to handle a lot of complex projects already. Like, you can continue doing that. Like, yeah, for sure. But if you want a different adventure, you can go the client management route. Since a lot of your project management really is talking to people and client management, stakeholder management, you can go that route. So that's what I chose. So yeah, to answer your question, in order for me to get to the role that I am right now, I had to be PMP certified and I had to be really strong on delivery. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna manage delivery, you have to be able to understand and be able to talk to the people who's gonna be taking care of the business for you.
Right. How would you define your management style? No, both maybe for client management and even your team management.
Yeah, the reason I forgot to tell you, diba? So I had the choice to just stay in project management.
Yes.
Alam mo, after 15 years, I could tell you, Kipski, I'm still a project manager, but I didn't do that. I realized kasi that my favorite part of client management is talking to the client. Like when we do, like when I visit the client on site, right? We do our testing, our cutovers, etc. My favorite part is talking to them after the meetings, during dinners, right? Sitting down and just understanding their business. And, kumbaga, hindi mo lang iniisip what's in front of you, but you're also able to talk to the client at the level where do you want to take your business, right? So it's the conversation. So for me, it's the interpersonal part that I believe is my strength. Kumbaga, when I talk to you, you're gonna feel like I'm a friend that kumbaga, hindi mo iisipin na binibentahan kita para lang makakuha ko ng another SOW. Right? And at favorite ko kapag client visits the Philippines. Like yung store walk, alam mo yun, like for example, kahit hindi ko account, kailangan lang nila ng, okay, Bev, ayoko kausapin yung kliyente, samahan mo ko sa dinner. Like, alam mo, di ba, typical Filipino, di ba, pag may bisita, ikaw yung mahihiya. Pag mahaba yung table, pupunta ka sa opposite side kasi ayaw mo mag-entertain. Sabi nga nila, I think you're a professional GRO. Favorite ko talaga na kausapin yung kliyente. So dun, feeling ko yun yung style ko. It's just like being able to relate to people, number one, at a level where they trust you.
Right.
No? And then I think one thing that has been helping me really is whatever is in the contract, I feel I'm flexible enough to go around it or just outside of the box. Kasi nare-realize ko that things don't move if you confine yourself within the box.
Interesting.
And yeah, and trust happens when it like to the letter, hindi mo naman nakita nakalagay sa SOW. Pero para sa akin, yung bigger picture is no, this will help in the long run. Because what I'm already thinking, and some people might say it's kind of manipulative, but for me it's strategic. I find ways to have leverage. Because at the end of the day, decisions are a lot of times emotional, right? A lot of times are political. Sometimes you get the business just because they like you. Parang ganun. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the kind of, that and I would say that's mainly my strength. When it comes to managing the team, I'm very paano ba? I'm authoritative.
Oh.
I know that
Okay.
yeah, I know that people are intimidated by me. But when I talk to people, I always tell them that the reason I am this way is because I needed to elevate your level of excellence. Because whatever, I always tell them, I'm hard with you, but let me tell you, compare yourselves to your colleagues who have not worked with me, you're going to be better with them than them. You're going to be better than them. So yes, you're going to get scolding from me because I know you could do better. And I am hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm very hard on people. I'm very hard on delivery folks. And I tell them that yung technical skills nyo, I mean, get the certifications, right? Do whatever you believe you need to upskill yourself, go ahead and do it. In fact, even if it's not your role yet, but it's your next, line of sight of the career, go ahead and do it while you're doing your current job, because you're not going to be able to do it, or you're not be able to get that role if hindi ka nagpe-prepare ngayon pa. But one thing that I'm very consistent with all my reports would be whether entry level yan, pero lalo na kung senior, bawal sa akin na hindi magaling ang interpersonal. You have to have a leadership mindset talaga. Kasi you can't get up. Kahit sobrang galing mo, ikaw ang pinakamagaling na developer, pero hindi mo kaya isulat sa email yung mga simple things lang. Di ba? Ang labo mo mag-email, ang labo mo kausap, you're not gonna get hired. So that's where I'm hard. Kasi feeling ko, on their own, if you're a technical person and you're really serious with your career, alam mo yung gagawin mo, magkiklik sa utak mo eh. Ang hindi nakiklik sa utak ng mga tao, yung leadership. Tsaka yung interpersonal. Soft skills.
Right.
The things that are not said, tapos pagbaba mo ng meeting, akala mo wala lang, and then i-explain ko, you know what happened there in that meeting? The meeting was run by your client, not by you. And that's where I will coach them. Kasi feeling ko, that's what will separate them from other technical people.
Right. Ito na, very interesting yung sinabi mo, parang you have to be the one that's running the meeting, not the client, no? And so you coach them. How do you coach them? Parang anong sample na ma-coach para lang for our audience din baka, no? How do you coach them, bro?
Actually, right after ng meeting sa amin, alam na nila, may debrief after. I will tell them, how do you feel about the meeting? Did it feel good? Right? Or for example, na run over na siya ng client. As in talagang yung meeting na sinet niya, kasi lagi ko sinasabi, if you set the meeting, you set the tone.
Yes,
diba?
yes, correct.
Right? You make sure that the meeting finishes on time. You make sure that you have a clear goal. Diba? Sign off ba yung kailangan mo? Discussion ba yung kailangan mo? Or yung meeting na yung kailangan nyo magsabong at kailangan nyo talaga mag-bounce off ng ideas, right? You have to be very clear with that. Yun, hindi mo na-achieve yun. And I really like eavesdropping on people. Just to give feedback. Alam mo yun? I'm not gonna wait at the end of the year to write you a recommendation or whatever. No, I'm just gonna tell you right after that meeting will happen. I'm gonna ask them, what do you feel? Right? What did you feel about the meeting? Anong nangyari dun sa meeting? And then I'm gonna tell them exactly how it arrived there para they can prepare the next time. So kumbaga, if the client was looking for something in the slide deck, sabihin na natin yung presentation was ngayon sasabihin ko, bakit hindi mo prepare? Kumbaga, mindset na you have to be able to be 2 steps ahead of everything. That's very project management, right? That's right. That's why when I talk to project managers, one thing I tell them is, marami kasi like for me, ang magaling na project management is hindi lang management. Kaya mag-technical, kaya mag-management, right? But hindi negative point sa akin na hindi magaling mag-technical yung project manager. Kasi for me, you just have to have the right level or right depth of technical knowledge para naiintindihan mo yung nagawa. Di ba? Hindi pwedeng wala. But at the same time, I also pull them back and say na if you're just doing, like, if you're thinking too technical naman, you're not doing your job as a project manager, because a project manager constantly thinks of risks, constantly thinks of what will go wrong. Even pagpasa mo pa lang sa meeting, alam mo na kung ano yung babarahin sa'yo. Dahil alam mo na, di ba? Maghanda ka na. Kumbaga, alam mong tatanungin, ilagay mo na sa backup slides mo yan. Di ba? So, yung mga ganun.
Now, very interesting itong sinabi mo, nung as project manager, as account delivery lead, parang you have to keep risk in mind, no? So, and in your client management, how do you deliver this? Let's say something went wrong, or parang there's something unexpected, or, medyo unhappy yung client, or maybe parang you have to deliver something, you have to tell your client something not so good. How do you deal with that? Kailangan mong sabihin sa client, hey, medyo delayed tayo, or what? Ano yung mga techniques mo for managing that?
Okay. All right. The first thing I need to do is understand what happened in the background internally. Because I'm never gonna be the one to throw my team under the bus.
Right, of course.
If there's someone I will throw under the bus, it would be me. For sure. Ako yung una. So, number one is I need to get the information, right? So what is something that, so number one is, okay, SOW. Is there something in the SOW that can protect me? Right? It doesn't mean that I'm gonna be defensive about it. I'm just gonna be fact-based and legal-based, right? What can protect me, right? Number two is that I'm gonna try to understand first. When I deliver bad news, the first thing I think about is the profile of the client. Okay? May mga kliyente na pag binigyan mo, nilatagan mo ng facts, okay, mag-resonate. Pero may mga kliyente na hindi nadadaan sa facts, nadadaan sa emotion. So yung profile, paano ko aatakihin, paano ko sasabihin sa kliyente ito? Okay, number two, is this something that should be done over a call, over coffee, or over email? Diba? Kasi iba yon, diba? Gaano kagrabe yung escalation? Diba? How much should I be able to, like, is this something that ito ba yung kailangan, handa yung tenga ko na to get an earful, di ba? Or is it, handa lang yung mata ko makakita ng mga red text na all caps in bold, mga gana. So even the way you deliver it, right? And thinking about how you'll structure the message, kasama yon. But one thing that ang sasabihin ko is, the most important when delivering bad news to the client is not just delivering bad news. It's two things. Number one is owning up to it, right? Owning up to an extent where it is fair and kumbaga, kung DXC talaga yung mali, okay, I will say na, okay, ito yung limitasyon namin, di ba? Kaya naging ganito. I will probably put on things that, we try to do these mitigation steps, right? At any given point, kumbaga, kailangan ko ipakita, most likely, kailangan ko ipakita na hindi to bumagsak, hindi to naging red dahil pinabayaan namin, right? Diba? Kumbaga, nung yellow status pa lang siya, may ginagawa na kami. Unfortunately, just shit hit the fan. Parang ganon, diba? So, I need to be able to tell the steps I did to mitigate it. But it already did. So, one thing that the message should always be, so how to turn it back? Okay? And how to turn it back is, I would probably give like options, right? To get back. Kasi, kumbaga, wala namang solusyon na perfect.
Right.
Di ba? Solusyon na, okay, nagkamali, ito gagawin natin, tapal solution, di ba? So when I structure solutions, when I say options, I would say, okay, immediate band-aid short term, ito yung gagawin namin, okay? Kasi we don't want you to bleed anymore. Diba? It's red already, let's stop the bleed, let's do this. Short term. Pero long term, ito yung gagawin natin. And then maglata ka ng option. Ito option na to would probably require a new SOW with you, di ba? Kasi it's really, kailangan talaga natin ayusin. Or this one, ito yung mga good faith na parang we're gonna do it because, DXC wants to make it up for you.
Right. Yan yung mga gusto natin kasi pwede yan leverage later on din, no?
Yes. So, ganon.
Since you have to deliver, sometimes sabi mo coffee or over food, pero because we're remote working and even for you, your clients are in abroad, no? How are you able to do that? Or parang medyo mahirap yung delivery na ganyan kung purely remote working, right?
Yeah. Yung kliyente ko, so I have two accounts. They're two big accounts. One account is the biggest media client. Oh, sorry. I have to step back. So account delivery leaders, marami kami. And DXC is divided into different industries, right? I am part of the media and entertainment industry, all right, of the Americas region. And I have two accounts. One account is the biggest animation company.
Sure.
If you know Trolls, you know the company. And then the other one is a sports franchise for one of WNBA, NBA, and maybe a baseball team as well. So media, yes. So I have two accounts, right? For both accounts, these accounts are kind of old school. They like people that they can see.
Right. Exactly. So mahirap to.
Oo. So kumbaga yung delivery pa lang nun is they don't want offshore. Diba? So pre-COVID, they want people na nasa harap, as in literally, they want to be able to tap that people.
Right.
Diba? Parang, there's a bug there. Ganyan. But, kumbaga, kahit ilang beses ko ibenta na, I can do offshore, same skill set at a fraction of a price. I'm like, no. How? Parang, di ba, yung concept pa lang na, no, we're gonna follow the sun. If you're awake, we're awake. So, yung concept na parang, you're gonna be awake at 1 a.m.? Sabi ko, yeah, we're gonna be awake at 1 a.m. Hindi yun. But because COVID hit, tapos walang pumapasok sa office nila, doon nila na-realize that the model works. Like, works. Kasi hindi nila nakita na nag-drop yung delivery.
That's true.
And yun yung sinasabi ko, alam mo, if there's just one thing that COVID did well, it was being able to demonstrate that as long as systems, processes, and protocols of the company supporting like yung infrastructure, making sure that, may laptop, diba, yung Wi-Fi, lahat, everything set up, kaya i-support. So, ngayon, yung Zoom, kasi usually naman, like, 60 to 70% of my meetings can be just video call, no? But to the client, no, it has to be something that it's always on. And I know that most companies naman always on, pero kasi sa DXC kasi hindi, for some reason hindi namin culture yung nagbubukas ng
webcam.
Oo, hindi talaga. Kasi feeling ko kasi offshore kami before, like just parang sanay na kami na pick up the phone, conference, hello, ganun lang. Pero pagdating sa kliyente, kailangan bukas. Kailangan nakikita nila yung sarili mo. And kumbaga, honestly, first 5 to 10 minutes of my call with the client is just really catching up. It's not really getting to the point yet. It's just like, kamusta ka? Kamusta ang COVID vaccine mo? Is it your second shot? Ganon. Right. So far, and to be honest, I haven't met them personally. Kasi, well, number one, bakit nga ba? Well, I think I declined meeting them when I joined the account, but my account previous to these two is HPI. So actually, when HP split to HPI and HPE, my client as an HPE employee was HPI.
So internal.
So yung mga
internal more or less.
So yun, na-meet ko talaga sila. So yun yung first experience ko na, yeah, I really like talking to clients face to face.
Right. siguro I have a couple more questions no? Pero for our benefit of our audience also, they wanna ask, how did you get into IT field, no? So just to give them a little background lang, what was your journey like in high school or senior high na tawag ngayon, no?
Uh,
Or even before that, parang why did you pick the course, the MIS course that we both took?
Alam mo, no high school, that was when, in the middle of high school, doon nag-start yung computer as a class.
Uh-huh.
And I just figured na parang it's exciting because, okay, number one, gusto ko maging doctor. And then I realized na takot talaga ako sa dugo.
Okay, wow. Parang hindi nga match yun.
Hindi.
Oo.
Yes, hindi. And then for some reason, and nobody can keep me honest right now because I don't have my classmates here, but I think I really did well in computer.
Mm.
Like honestly, kung inisip mo, how will you do well? Honestly, I cannot give you proof. But that's what my memory is telling me. So sabi ko, I think it's cool. I think I'm doing well. And then at that time, nagbo-boom na yung IT industry. And then MIS was, I think, a very young course in Ateneo. So my mom was like, okay, sige, X na yung medicine, hindi ka dyan. So I chose MIS.
Right.
And then when I did MIS, di ba, ewan ko kung naalala mo di ba, nung first year is like general. Second is like when we started coding. Second year, di ba? And then third year was
mga change management, ganyan nata. Third year, oo.
Yes. Business processes, ganun kasi technical, parang paakyat talaga siya. And then fourth was the all-POC subjects, right? The project management, etc. And then doon po pa lang, kumbaga from a framework perspective, malalaman mo na you cannot manage IT if you don't know the foundations. If you don't know the technicals. But going up, alam ko talaga na hindi ko talaga strength ito at kailangan ko siyang pagdaanan para maintindihan ko yung language.
Right.
Pero di talaga ako sa project management. So when I graduated in college, Olpok told me just go to HP kasi nag-HP yata si Olpok. And then when I got my first role in HP, it was a business analyst. And this is probably one thing that I always tell people, right? Lalo na yung mga college grads who think that when they get in the corporate world, they're gonna get the exact role that they want. No. The very cliche, you really have to go up the ladder, right? So when I was a business analyst, alam ko talaga na parang, okay, this is gonna be my stepping stone. So what I did on my first year pa lang I told my project manager that time, you know what, I'm a business analyst. I'm gonna do my job, yes. But can I be an assistant to you even unofficially? So that just I what you're doing. Because I'm gonna tell you this is where I'm gonna shine. And I have no way to prove it to you. But I'm just gonna show it to you by just being your saling kit and just all the dirty work that you don't want to do. Let me track it. At siguro hindi pa kami middle of the project, wala na-recommend na ako as an assistant project manager on my next role.
Right. Amazing. Now, that's a very progressive and very, parang proactive na parang, hey, I wanna be, to assist you kahit unofficially, no? Parang, that's really great, no? And you stayed there for 15 years, no? That's a very unique story, I would say, in certain cases, especially now na parang madaming startup. So maybe you can share yung benefits. Let's stick with the benefits lang on sticking to a company long term para others can also hear yung advantages of sticking to loyalty award.
Actually, that's the least, the loyalty award. Wala naman ako makukuha, plaque lang yan. But you know what? I now that you asked me that question, I realized that my story or my career path is not something that a lot of IT people would, kasi we're always down to what's the next cool thing? What's the next big thing, right? We want to be there when it's starting, diba? Parang kumbaga yung long haul, yun yung boring, diba? I would say, na parang, paano ka nagtagal? What I would say is the biggest, advantage of staying in a company is that you know the company at the grassroots level. And when you're I'm not saying I'm up there, but when you reach a certain level and you can your perspective is like when you look down and you actually understand how moving parts work, not just delivery, even the supporting parts of the business, how HR works. Why? Because if I know how HR works, I know staffing. Diba? So kung sinabi mo sa akin na it will take me 2 months to get a person onboarded, I can challenge you. I can know the intricacies na parang, no, kailangan natin i-expedite yan. Kailangan na to. Kailangan ko i-stop to. So whatever you need to do to expedite, do it. Right? Because I know HR, I also know, what you need to do, what you need to tweak to get. Kumbaga, if I really want someone and that person is kind of above the pay grade, right, that we are able, kaya eh. Kumbaga, alam mo yung mga bagay na hindi pinag-uusapan.
Right,
alam mo na, kasi doon ka na eh, napagdaanan mo na. What else? So HR, corporate functions, marketing, you kind of know how to play, kumbaga, to pull the strings. Kasi you know people na. So, kumbaga, in fact, kapag may other accounts, they go to me. Sabihin ko, hindi ko kayo accounts but you're from the Philippines. You should be able to connect me to a person from Philippines. And I'm like, and ako naman, oo nga no, na-realize ko na gano'n na ako katanda that people actually think Philippines, okay, Bev. In fact, tinatanong nila ako ng COVID updates sa Philippines.
Right.
So, wait lang, medyo malayo na yan. Pero okay. So, na-realize ko nga na, okay, because of the deep roots in DXC, I think yun. Aside from loyalty. And feeling ko kasi, you love your work because you know how much the company has given back to you.
You mentioned a little bit na parang in terms of success na you wouldn't say you're super top of it na, pero I think you can recognize naman you're fairly doing well. The company has done well. So, how do you define success? Ganyan.
Okay. Yeah. Iniisip ko kasi, okay, sino bang audience ni Kibski? Baka naman masyadong mayabang. But you're right. I needed to recognize that. And last year, actually, from a career perspective,
right,
was very monumental for me because I got promoted last year. In the middle of people losing jobs, and I didn't feel the need to tell it to anybody. In fact, you're the first person I told it out. And now, because you're gonna broadcast it,
now everybody knows. So
now everybody knows, diba? So, I didn't expect it to happen during COVID, but I will not say that I did not intentionally run after that promotion.
Right.
Okay, so that was like 1 year in the making of hustling. Okay, so what is success for me? Okay, for me, Kibski, it's really not. I think for me, it's being able to do that one thing that I'm really good at, and be recognized for it, because and when I say recognized, it can be all forms, compensation, peer, alam mo yan. But overall, the one thing that I feel na parang okay, I think I'm successful enough in this career is that I have like complete control of my time.
Okay.
Sinasabi ko yan sa mga, syempre ngayon, hindi mo naman masisisi yung mga tao kung ang motivation nila is pera. I have no judgment there, right? Lalo na yung mga hustler ng mga bata ngayon na parang they just wanna move up the ladder, just wanna have like increase, kailan na next promotion, kailan na next salary. Sinasabi ko sa kanila na alam mo, na-understand ko yung hunger mo. In fact, I love the passion. But you'll soon realize when you get older, gosh, it pains me to tell them that get older, diba? You will appreciate that when you get up in the morning, you're not bombarded with calls that you need to get on the phone because something in production is burning, right? You're not working on the weekend, right? if I want to go someplace before I go to work, that's fine. I can log in whatever time of day I want, and nobody's gonna be like, Bev, you're uncontactable. No, I'm still doing my job. It's just that I will choose when I log off and log in at work, right? And whatever. Kumbaga para sa akin, I think time. It's being able to choose however I want to use my time so that I have enough time for my family, for my relationship, for things I like, diba? And my world does not revolve around my work.
Right.
I think, diba, yun yung nakakatawang irony. Success in work for me is being able to not have my world be revolving around work.
Right.
That's my, ang haba nung sagot ko. Pero
it's good.
Yun, now that I realize it, yun yung feeling ko is my number one measurement of success. Okay, sorry. I won't put it in because I don't want to downplay my accomplishments. Okay. That for me is success.
Right.
Na hindi ako, as in, I can do whatever I want to do and I'm completely fulfilled and happy.
Right. So itong time management, I think this is siguro good to aspire for. Pero I think I would say when you're starting out, like when you were starting out, medyo mahirap siyang i-use as a measure of success, no? Kasi we report to a lot of people and everything, and yun nga, we're not as controlled pa. So
yes.
For our audience, ano yung advice mo sa mga people that are still starting out on IT? Parang how do they become you eventually na parang get that time management really well?
You know, I love how you distinguish that success right now in your 30s and when you're fairly senior in a company will mean different with success if you're starting out. I think it's a very good point because I just got my youngest cousin who just graduated in college like a year ago to DXC, right? Okay. And when I talk to him, like when I mentor him, or when I talk to anybody younger than me, I'm gonna tell them, if in your 20s, you are not having, enough time for you to sleep, you're not having enough time to go to party, you're doing the right thing. Okay, if there's one time that you can abuse your body, right? Not get enough sleep, 'di ba? Magtipid ka, kumain ka ng cup noodles, I don't know, 'di ba? Now's the time to make all the mistakes. Like for me, sabi ko, the only reason that I work only 3 hours per day is because I work 12 to 16 hours during my 20s. Sabi ko, you have to put in the work in your 20s. You have to lay the foundation. If you refuse to accept that your 20s would be uncomfortable, your 20s would be like unnerving, it will give you all the insecurities, it will give you all the doubts in your head, you have to power through that. Like really. And when I say you have to make all the mistakes, I'm okay if you jump from one company, if you jump from one role to the other, for you to understand what part of IT do you want to set your foot in? What part of IT do you want to plant your roots deeply?
Right.
Pagkamali ka na sa 20s, kesa yung 30s na medyo tamad-tamad ka na, different scenarios, medyo tinatamad ka na dahil wala ka na talagang energy, or you're already starting a family and you have different priorities, kailan mo gagawin in your 30s? You have to do it in your 20s.
Right. So now that, again, unfortunately or fortunately, nasa 30s na tayo nga. What are the things that you're currently passionate about, no? Whether it be IT and not IT.
Oh, okay. I am a strong advocate of self-care. In fact, I think the self-care movement just really intensified during the quarantine because you really have to not forget about yourself. As you said, we're gonna go crazy in this pandemic, right? Like, at least the only thing I can say is that if our elders had the Great Depression, they had the World War, whatever, well, I got COVID-19. But the pandemic, right? Kumbaga, ito na talaga, feeling ko, hopefully wala nang mas malala pa than this, diba?
Sana.
Yeah, but before the self-care movement really intensified, I think I have been a self-care advocate for as long as I could remember. When I realized that I have the power to control my time and have the power to control where my energy goes, that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna pay myself first every day. And what do I mean? And I will tell that to anyone. In fact, feeling ko this lesson, even people in our 30s need to understand. When you wake up, you have to pay yourself first. Either you meditate, you exercise, or you do something that enriches you. Because the moment that you let that moment pass and you go dive into your responsibilities, your work, your children, or your family, or whatever obligations that you have, at the end of the day, when you're tired and you're gonna be like, oh gosh, I have no time for myself. Like, sige, fine, magne-Netflix na lang ako as consolation, or fine, I'm gonna eat that ice cream in the freezer, right? You're gonna just resent yourself kasi feeling mo ubus ka, diba? Whereas, if you did it at the start, diba, you feel so energized, and you feel like, okay, I didn't shortchange myself because I paid myself first. So whatever form of self-care, like some people meditate, some people exercise, I do everything. In fact, I start work. Guess what time I start work?
2 p.m.
4.
4 p.m. Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, pay yourself first. So self-care for me is really important. So obviously self-care, ang dami ng branches niyan. I'm very passionate about beauty, about makeup. I think in the middle of me, I think climbing up the ladder in DXC, I got myself certified makeup artistry. So I also do that. What else? Right now, I'm very passionate about getting ahead of my nutrition and just really understanding and geeking out on nutrition. Because health is wealth. I think that's really the driver, and that's what's keeping me busy right now. Just calculating my macros, what can I fit, diba? Protein, fat, whatever. So that's what I'm trying to do, right? I'm geeking out on that one. Not mainly on the physical. On obviously the transformation will happen, but really more of okay. I can do my dreams. I can fulfill a lot of things if I'm healthy. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Right. No, it's very nice. I think I'm also guilty of the fact na yung when I wake up, dive into work agad, no responsibility, and not taking care of myself. Parang ako yung sinabi mo, sa dulo sa Netflix sa dulo, no?
Diba?
Right. And if you remember, I also in one of my guest audience, no, if you remember, I talked to Chino Dato also, and this is also what he said. You know, rest or yourself is a prerequisite, not a post event. So you should do something for yourself first before your the work, no? So parang I think I need to change that as well, no? Right. So I think, as we wrap up this recording, audience, if you have any comments, if you have any follow-ups, you feel free to write it in the comment below section, and just reach out to us. Bev, do you have any last hurrah or last, shout out to our audience?
Okay. Well, number one is that I hope that you find it in yourself to introspect and find that one thing that you believe you are set to do in this life. And once you realize that, know that the work will start at that moment, right? It will not get easy because you understand what you need to do in your life, but understand that things will go hard. Like nothing will be easy if that's what you want to be good at. But it's very cliche, right? But you always have to be ready to put in the work. And as always, naniniwala ako na, climbing to number 1 is easy. Okay? But staying on top is the one that's more difficult. So the name of the game is really resilience and tenacity. It's really those two things for me. And grit. The buzzword grit. So it's grit, tenacity, and resilience, right? You have to put in the work, even if it's hard. And even if it's hard, you just try to just like sustain it. And like if things are difficult, that's when you that's when you hold on. So yeah, hopefully you achieve your dreams. I think that's what I always pray for, or when people ask me for advice, I always feel that even if I talk to you, the enlightenment will always happen inside of you. So I hope people reach that point. And I hope people just find the joy the joy in this lifetime. Even if, being happy is not, being happy right now is not, what's the term? Hindi mo makukuha yung happiness every day because happiness is external,
Mm-mm.
right? If you read Facebook, you read the news, you'll just like us, I mean, imposibleng hindi ka masad, makikita mo. But joy is internal, and that's the thing that you need to protect. So yeah, I would end with that.
Right, thank you, no? And siguro pahabol lang ako, no? Just in case anyone wants to join, since na-mention mo na you have connections also in HR, and does anyone who wants to join your team or DXC in general, how do they do that?
You know what? Our DXC portal is very much updated with all our open requisitions. So they can just log in, right? Like put in their resume, and I'm sure our talent acquisition specialists will be able to, get a call if they're fit.
Right. So guys, I'll also put the link in the description. So if in case you guys want to join an amazing team, right, with Miss Bev, you can definitely check out their openings. Right. So
All
that
right.
right. So that's it. Thank you everyone for watching, and that ends our show. Bye. And of course, if you like our content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell.